We are live.
Good. Okay, I'd like to open the session back up, start discussing the budget workshop here.
Yeah, so I will, I'll go through the requests, went through the budget session last week, department heads submitting their requests. Council reviewed those, provided feedback. I will summarize the feedback and where we're at today with those budgets and those items that we adjusted. So the placeholder within salary line items is setting at 3%. That's not stating that raises are 3%, but to balance the budget, we're saying there are placeholders in there at that amount. I welcome any further feedback on that. The police vehicle, Joe has information that he's submitted. The feedback that I got from the council is probably looking at pulling that out. But if there was a need or council wanted to change something, we'd have the opportunity to look at that. And have Joe, if you want to ask us questions after I kind of go through the summary and through those items, you can. Council, from the conversations that we had, council would like to see, we sent out to department heads an asset allocation. You know, what assets do you have? Anything over $5,000? What's the age of it? What's the replacement cycle? And in that replacement cycle, we're not asking just when do you feel like you need to replace it, but like on fire equipment and other things, we'd like to know when you would like to replace it, but we'd also like to know, is that a certification? Is it worn out? You know, what's the criteria behind the replacement? So with that, there will be a time when that asset allocation, when we bring that back to the council, and probably at a time when we do a capital improvement planning, if there are things we need to look at or equipment we need to purchase or request at that time, the council has talked about looking at some of those. So you're welcome to, after I go through all this, to give feedback on that. Met with library staff, talked about, the council had asked two things. One is just an overall reduction somewhere within the budget of $2,000. So we didn't specify the line item, just looked at an overall somewhere within the budget. And I had a good conversation with them. I think it makes sense at some point to either have some one-on-ones, small groups, or to have a session with the library. Had a lot of, spent some time with them talking about book replacement and when we're buying books and what we're allowed to do with those. There's some guidelines within there that are probably unique that council isn't aware of, so it'd be good to, there are certain things that you can and can't do with books, and according to the library, state library board. So anyway, we'll get, there'll be some questions there that can be answered. There was a request to have Jerry go full-time. Council, mayor and council had asked, not approving that at this time. Would like to see the succession plan, and with a succession plan would look favorable towards approving something like that. So not necessarily a no or a yes at this time, but it's bring us back more information. We're not looking at approving it today, but bring us back so we see what the succession plan is moving forward. But that, as the budget would be presented, that's not in that 127 for full-time. Recreation, had a conversation with Alicia. We're going to see how this goes. We talked about, she had requested 20 hours for an assistant. In conversation with the council and the mayor, we talked about, would we look at dropping that down by 10 hours and do 10 hours a week? Could be seasonal. We all have agreed that she's kind of burning it at both ends at times between doing her job and being here in the office and with activities. So I think that's something that we'll need to monitor going forward. Is, you know, if we approve the budget in this manner in those 10 hours, you know, what is that workload looking like, and how do we make sure that we're not asking her? It's difficult for the position to put in the 40 hours and then also do nights and weekends depending on the year and the activities that are occurring. So we want to ask her to, we'll be tracking that if that's the direction the council wants to go. The other item within recreation, we talked about, council would like to see $2,000 come from somewhere. Alicia thought that programs, you know, we haven't been fully spending that, but we've had some openings in the past. I think there's 20,000 in that line item, and we could take 2,000 out of that. Parks, there were 2 items on there. Discussion about a master plan for 5,000. We're looking at taking that out for now. As we proceed forward, that is a kind of a special project. A couple things are occurring. One, we are pursuing grant work, grant opportunities at the park. We are working with the University of Iowa. We'll be looking at that as one of our projects. That's something, as things unfold, that if we take that out of the budget today, we'll be coming to the council ahead of time to say, okay, what's the planning look like? What do we come with a request, and how do we do the next steps on all those projects? We do have a plan Alicia has somewhat of a plan for the Triangle Park and what she's requesting there, and then we do have the plan that we paid for. That's just a placeholder up at the 26 acres north of the school. And then we put a grading plan together on that. But I think with what we have now, with what Alicia is pursuing with DNR and others, we do have a good start to what we can target up there, and getting grass and doing some things around the pond, looking at some riprap and other things in that area. The other part was discussion on storage, looking at taking out, not buying a storage, spending $10,000 on a storage shed. Looking at, council talked about 2 options. I know that the concession stand, Randy currently has a field drag in there. There's space in there. We would have to have Randy move his out. And then Fire and EMS had offered to partner. They do have space in storage downtown that we're already paying for, and they talked about offering to open up space there if needed. The rest we had talked about certain line items, but no full reductions. There were some comments. We're still tracking both fire and EMS, how we're doing this year. There was conversations about, we are looking at raising EMS some, but we're seeing a good track record right now with fire and EMS in response. So we didn't adjust any of the numbers at this time coming out of EMS. We feel that's a pretty strong number to move us forward in the next year. With those cuts or those changes that I had described, we are sitting at 127. Again, we do have the lost money that many cities budget within. They pull that right in and use that as income. The city of Granger has chosen over time not to do that, and we keep that money set aside. So we do have the funds to balance this. If you take into account what we see annually in cash carryover, we're good to balance and to cover that 127. Just wanted to get input from the council as a whole, and any comments that you may have.
Do we have limits on the loss, what we can use it for?
Yeah, we have a resolution on what we spend our lost money on.
Because we can't just spend it on anything.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
And part of that category is reducing
Right.
tax
Property tax
burden,
relief.
which this would fall into, be able to do that. Any feedback from the council on that? I mean, In my tenure, we've been anywhere from, let me step back a little bit. We're seeing still discussion at the state level on capping property taxes. Not a comment on whether I'm for or against that. What it does do for cities, many of the cities in the metro have been under tremendous pressure because that capping has put them, they're larger cities, but that cap has put them at millions of dollars at disadvantage. We're seeing some growth. That growth is capped, so we're not gonna, even as we do grow and bring in industry, we're not gonna see a rapid rise in some of that tax base and freeing up cash, but we should see some continual growth in that. We saw 8 to 9, 12%, this year. So and that's in that general fund bucket that we can select where that money goes, not in any of the enterprise funds. So we are seeing that growth. I think we'll see some steady growth. I don't think we can let our foot off the gas or on the brake, however you want to say it. I don't think we can got a lot of projects coming forward that we're strategically planning for. I think we need to keep that stance moving into the future. Any special areas that you wanted to address or have comment on?
I just think moving forward, if we get everybody online, department-wise, and we start seeing where everything's at, over time we get that clearer picture, I think it will, make things a little easier moving forward, especially when we talk about the project stuff we got coming up. And, there's only so much money to go around, and how can we, strategically use it, appropriately at the right time, so we're not, spending it all at once and then something comes up and we don't have any money, so.
Right. I do, with Joe here, I think it would make sense. Joe and I had a conversation today, and I let him know through our conversation with the mayor and the council that there was question about at what point in timing to purchase a third vehicle. Is that now, or is that after we have that asset allocation and we do a capital improvement plan and we see where everyone's falling? Chief Cox put an information sheet together, and I think it'd be probably good for him to maybe walk through that and answer any questions that the council may have, and kind of share your stance or your thoughts on that.
So right now, I'll just walk there real quick. We have 2 vehicles that are in service, and 3 full-time guys, the 2 part-time guys. And, we got the Ford, the truck, we bought that in 2022. We leased it, and we currently have 2 payments left on it. We pay it yearly. We go through eBay on that lease. That was the best with the interest. So, and it was a 5-year lease. So I think we're at $9,400 right over that a year that we paid. But that was in 22 when we bought that. And then the Tahoe, they bought in 20, right, that budget year, July of 20. They got it. I think they got it in August. And the vehicles are our primary tool. That's what we use. That's pretty much our office, to be honest. Police are in it 8 hours, 10 hours, however long. There are computers in that car. A police car is very unique, as in, I can't take my personal car to a call. Because if I have to arrest somebody, I can't transport them in that. I don't have the lights in the car. So essentially, we rely on our police car. Can I show up if another officer is there in my personal vehicle? Correct, but it doesn't take me time. The reason we're looking for a third vehicle is, if one goes out of service, we're down to 1. I have 1 guy on patrol. That puts me out at my house. So if I get domestic late at night when nobody's on, I have to drive to the office, get the car. If it's this time of year, scrape the window or whatever, They get in it, and it puts me 15, 20 minutes behind. 15, 20 minutes on a call is a long time. And right now, I've got it down to my responding time. As soon as I get a call, 3 o'clock in the morning, it's about 10 minutes. I'm at that location in uniform, in a market patrol car. And if we get, well, we had the water pump go out on the Tahoe, and not recently, just a couple months ago. And my truck was actually at Stivers getting serviced. So we had 0 vehicles at that point.
And you said your F-150 is a lease, correct?
Correct.
So at the end of that lease,
We own it. So it's
Okay.
not like a general lease, like a,
so it's like a lease to own, basically?
yeah, correct.
Okay.
So, yeah, we own it. I should have clarified that. Thanks for.
No,
It's like civilian lease, you know, you pay your down payment and then you return the vehicle. This is just a lease to own.
Sure. So at the end of 2027, when that lease is up, we don't need to look at replacing that vehicle as well?
Correct. We're gonna plan on keeping that truck. And adding a third vehicle, we're gonna take the wear and use off of this current vehicles we have. The mileage, Tahoe right now is doubled up. It's used every day, 12 hours a day, constantly. So we're constantly putting miles on it. The third vehicle, we're gonna take the maintenance out a little bit. Maintenance cost.
Yeah, so just wanted Chief Cox to have the opportunity to share that information. If that answers some of your questions, or if you still want to see the asset allocation sheet before you make a decision, I want to make sure you had that, and you had an opportunity to speak to you with that. So what we would look at is what's that rotation? When's the Tahoe replaced? You know, if when you buy a new, that fills a slot, then the next rotation is the Tahoe, the next rotation is the truck. What do those rotations look like, and project that forward.
So I'm still looking to get 3 years out of Tahoe still. And that's our oldest vehicle.
So do you have any other major assets besides the vehicles that you have to replace on a regular
Vehicles
basis?
that you have.
What's that?
Vehicles and computers.
Okay,
Just the equipment inside.
okay.
Our trailer's like $4 grand a year, so it's not a lot there on that.
Okay.
And like I said, it's pretty much our office, our mobile office.
So then does the 15 get allocated to like the monthly payment of the vehicle plus the upfront cost of the equipment that goes in it then for the
Yeah, do you want to
next
speak to that?
year?
Budget.
Correct, that form I gave to you last time, that's with the upfitting fee, and that, the lease includes that upfitting fee with the vehicle. They put it all in together. And unfortunately, upfitting is expensive.
But you're talking 15,000 for the first annual payment?
Yeah, roughly. Hopefully,
How long are
I mean,
these
I don't have
leases?
that exact payment, but I
5
mean, it
years.
should be under that, depending on what the interest and what he makes.
Yeah, second, third, fourth, and fifth year would be less than 15,000 then, right?
I'm not a banker, but I would assume so.
We need to calculate that by seeing the price of the vehicle.
Usually
and
it's
the
going to be
upcharge.
very similar.
Yeah.
They
it
spread
usually
it out
stays the
over
same. Yeah.
Okay.
5 years, so it's not like a balloon interest rate, it'll
I
be,
thought they mentioned that 15 included the outfitted charge.
No, so they took the price, added it all, and all lumped
so I know the truck stayed similar around 94, wasn't it? Couple hundred up and down, but it was very close to that.
And you're looking at an Explorer this time, right?
Explorer, yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's a smaller, cheaper vehicle. They all get about the same mileage, no matter what we do.
Yeah.
V6. They're Stivers, and they do the upfitting right there at Stivers. That's the guy that's done our last 2 vehicles. Great guy, you call him up and he gets you right in.
Yeah, so the decision to make is, do we include it in the budget year? Are you comfortable with that? Do you want to see the asset allocation sheet? And then if you are okay with it, we would need to provide to you, prior to making that decision, get the costs and the estimates, both for the vehicle and the upcharge, so that you see that number and sign off on that.
I gave you the vehicle cost and upfit cost.
That includes all the stickers and everything too, or is that?
Correct,
Okay.
yep, the
Yeah,
decals were in
respect.
on that,
When were those numbers as of?
just last week. Like, it was like a couple days before we had that
Okay.
meeting last week.
Okay.
It might have actually been the morning of.
So essentially what we'd be looking at is potentially, if we approve this, the Explorer this year, then in 3 years replacing the Tahoe potentially, and then in another 3 to 5 years replacing the F-150, correct? Based on
So,
what you've got here.
I'm thinking the trucks usually last longer, 6 to 8 years
Okay.
from now. So, yeah, 3 to,
And all the mileage should come down with the third vehicle.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yes, you know, you just said mileage. should-
Yeah, I mean, the wear and tear is gonna go down
Yeah.
fairly,
Maybe it'll, depending on what vehicle, maybe it'll get in.
okay.
So we're looking at basically 2029, 2031, 2034, assuming you put them, rotate them out at 80,000 miles and you're putting 10 on a year.
So you're looking at-
Even if we didn't want to spend the money, the sequence or the cycling makes sense. And that's
Yeah.
kind of the goal is to get some leap years to where we can have some cash flow surges.
And that's the feedback from each of you was, let's make sure we know what's the sequence, how do we do it so that we do have a sequence and we have a rotation. I mean, what you're talking about is we're looking at building into the budget in police, probably having a $17,000 payment per year. As the sequences and as one rolls out, you're gonna have, there could be a couple years where that debt service is doubled because you're rolling off the tail end. You know, you're getting 2 years of one and renewing another. I'd have to look at the schedule you did there, but you're a few times, that's why we rolled in. Some of that, we need to look at when you look at that asset allocation sheet, then we'll determine what part of that comes general fund, what part of that hits debt service, and we roll that into a note.
And a kind of an idea I had earlier too was like, you know, we owe, what, 94, 95 for the next 2 years, so what, 19,000 to the truck? So if we took maybe lost and paid that off, and then we would start, use some of that money towards the new lease.
Yeah, so my goal with this, and nothing wrong with the statement he just said, but what I want to make sure doesn't happen is that Alicia says, well, let's just take Lost, and then Aaron says, well, I bought Dodge trucks with Lost, and then these two come with a $250,000 air pack request. Let's just go to Lost. So that's the pressure I've been getting from each of you is get the asset allocation sheet put together so that we know what that is. I think in this case, if you're comfortable with that rotation, then I think you have the information to make a decision. But
And
as
we're using money from the school. I mean, they're reimbursing us 35. So our budget really not going up.
And I don't have a problem if the vehicle's still running and not costing us money to go another year or another 2 years, but, I mean, I don't like to see them go over 100,000 on some of these vehicles.
right,
No.
yeah.
I think you kick them down the road at 80,000. And if you got a gap or something 1 year, say COVID pops again and vehicle prices skyrocket, you've always got a backup one that can be the whatever.
Yep.
I would be interested in looking at potentially paying off the F-150.
Yeah.
Because from what I understand, there wasn't a rotation in place previously.
No.
Nothing like this has been done before. If we can start now with a plan in mind of, okay, this is when we're replacing things, and we start
Yep.
as close to zero as possible, I mean, that's kind of the precedent we're setting by, okay, we're not just gonna spend money out of Lost
Right.
for everything.
Yeah.
But that would be the purpose of this. I mean, that's something I would be interested in
Yeah.
looking at,
Yeah.
if everybody else is as well.
Yeah, the history behind that is we didn't have, I mean, we had one vehicle until 2 years ago. And then we bought the truck and we went to 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
So
We had two.
how long have you had 2?
They've had two
Years?
For for years.
Have they? Okay.
We had a Crown
My
Vic.
bad.
Yeah.
That's,
Crown Vic.
okay,
Yeah.
I take that back, yeah.
What if we found you a Crown Vic? No.
Yeah,
Hey, I would be happy with Crown Vic.
Yeah.
we, when I arrived, we didn't have, did we have a Crown Vic when I
We had an
arrived?
Explorer. The Explorer transmission was going out.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right, okay. Yeah, so adding the third vehicle, I mean, whatever you would like to do, I think we've set the
How much cash was it to clean up the 150?
2 years worth of,
About
So it'd be
19,000.
about 19, right?
It's around there. I wish I would've brought my
So
numbers.
20K out of loss to get, to clean our room and get back to square one.
and then add 15 back in to the budget, so go from 127 to add 15 back
142.
in. Yeah, up to 142.
Doesn't he already have 15 in there?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, that 127 didn't include that.
It's on the list, please.
Yeah, it wasn't removed from this updated. It's still on our, budget that we
I
got.
left it on here. I left it on the budget because
Did you? Okay.
I
Double check
asked
that.
if I were to take it off, but I think we were going to discuss it, so I left it
Yeah.
on there.
Okay. Well, if you.
That's part of
if-
the 142 number.
Yeah, right. So it's
Yes.
the 142, not the 127.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's the 142.
Oh, yeah.
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
saying the same thing. You had it taken off with
Yeah,
127.
I was receiving pressure
Yeah.
to go down. But yeah, just so you're aware, it would be at the 142 is what we'd be balancing. And we have the budgetary resources to do that, it's just your philosophy. And we've done it, we've also, last year, we knew that the state was freezing budgets, and so the council, pulled that down some, which isn't a bad thing, because we are in a good financial position, with our accounts, we're in a good position debt-wise. We do have pressure coming to grow, so maintaining this conservative stance is a good thing.
and right now, Joe, if you're over in Woodward for working at the schools and that Suburban goes down, Granger just has no coverage, right? So if you go to, because you help at the middle school as the resource officer, so if you're over there, you've got your truck, and if there's something wrong with the Tahoe, like, there's nothing in Granger at that time, right?
Well, we come back and.
Right.
Granger's our priority.
Right, but I mean, there would be
But yeah,
nobody
one
here.
vehicle goes down.
Okay.
So moving forward, do they need to approve this tonight, or what?
This is for July 1 budget
Okay, so,
purchase, when the payment would be, so we can make a decision before, we just can't make any payments on it until it hits that next budget cycle, or hits that next fiscal year cycle. We could take action prior to that, we just need to work out with them and upfitting
So
to
do they-
hit that.
do we want to see the asset allocation forms first before, or, I mean, that's a you guys call, but
I'm comfortable enough right now to say that you can, obviously I'm only one voice, but I'm comfortable with it.
like, is that something they have to take a motion on, or they just all converse right now on whether they
Well,
want
so just, we're not gonna be setting and solving everything in the budget now.
Okay.
But we need to be in agreement so we can move forward. Are you comfortable with what's presented to you now, so department heads can move forward knowing what's in there and what to expect? And so everything that you have, the 142 is with the 15 in there.
And we've got a surplus of just over 200, right?
Yeah.
Carry over.
Yeah,
Why can't we just clean it up with that?
plus the lost that comes in.
Yeah, so let's change his
We
verbiage.
could,
in
I
there from-
just,
you don't want to,
just conservative and we can. I mean, we can have that discussion. Tonight, we can,
Well,
if you're good with that, let's move forward with the budgets at that 142. And those, as we go through and clean up some stuff, there'll be some minor $100 here and there that change, but nothing extensive.
okay, anybody else got anything for tonight?
No, one thing in the future, do we still have an insurance committee and who's on that? Because we used to have
We can put one
council
together.
members and I don't think anybody's been
Yeah,
on
we
it.
did, we have been doing that. We did that last year. Haven't done anything for this year yet, but
You can
Just
appoint,
something to think about for the future, because
you can appoint someone, which both,
not me.
I was gonna say you, Jody.
both
Not me,
looking
but I think it'd
at,
be a good idea.
yeah, both looking at the property and casualty and the health employee. So, yeah.
I would like to see the 15 offset somehow from the overall budget. I don't really care which center it comes out of. Maybe you can get out there and write a bunch of tickets. Lord knows 141, you can ride them all day. But
From within,
say again?
that 15 from inside the budget, pull it from somewhere else? Is
Yeah,
that what
pull
you're
it from
saying?
somewhere else, whether that's a 3% down to a 2.8% raise across the board, something like that. I'm not sure if there's any appetite for that. See if we can offset it somehow, rather than just, to your point, falling back on carryover funds or lost funds that may or may not be there in the future.
I feel like it's in a pretty good, the 3% seems pretty good, and I think the carryover in that, I know we're trying to be as conservative as possible, but, I felt like it was cut pretty good. I guess it takes more time to look to see
Yeah.
where else it'd be cut, but, I'm concerned a little bit about some of the other departments and maybe the amount allocated to them as well, because, I know down there, I know a lot of work done right there, and I'm gonna closely monitor what's going on with Alicia this year too. Because I know that's with weird hours and things like that, we don't want to lose good people, so I'd like to work with you on some of those things to figure out something better, so.
Yeah, and I talked to her about that today. We need to monitor we took that from 20 down to 10. We need to monitor what does it take? We have with her in the position and we're building momentum in that area. We need
A lot of
to,
momentum.
we may need to adjust that. I mean, we're setting a budget that starts July 1 and goes to June 30th. We can't sit the next 18 months and say you have 10 hours of
Yeah.
help.
Well, that's why I suggest somewhere. I don't have an answer for where. I really don't. Because I agree with your comments. There's not much fat left on this to trim.
And
So-
I don't want to decrease salaries beyond 3% if we don't have to, because,
exactly.
we've got good people in place and we don't want them looking elsewhere. And, I think cutting that should be more of a last resort, personally. I definitely want to get Alicia help, whether it's, can we look at a volunteer program to come help set stuff up? I've always seen like the high school offering silver cord hours. Is that something that's still in place?
I just want us to be at the table with her
Yeah.
doing that, not just making the recommendation and
No,
then the meeting's over. And we need to, if we can get something in place and supplement while we're growing that.
yes, 100%.
And I will, the community engagement piece, we have gained some great traction with Emily Blair and Alicia on our grant piece. And not just from the grants, but making our name known within the organizations that do the grants. I'm going to give some accolades to Emily and Alicia. When we talked to the University of Iowa about applying to do that capstone project where their grad students work with us on up to 10 projects or more, they typically have an application process where you have to submit it. Well, we submitted information. I think they called you the next day and said, yeah, we're going to forego that process. We have so many things happening that they want to be a part of. They just put us on the docket and said, let's move forward. So she's gaining, helping us on that community engagement piece, not just the park and rec piece. So I want to make sure we pay attention to that.
I 1,000% agree with that. And I think, you know, we're in kind of a special situation because we are kind of transitioning out of small town into a mid-sized town, and, you know, our needs are changing. I think as a community, we need to look at some other opportunities to help finance some of this stuff, because, you know, we're sitting here with the numbers and we can't do everything.
Right.
And we've got a lot more that we want to do, whether that's through partnerships with businesses or donations or things like that, and volunteers. But I definitely want to, we're not just going to put Alicia, Parks and Rec, any of these people out on an island and say, figure it out. I think council needs to 100% be involved with that and help with those things as well.
Or any of our other, I mean, I'm sitting there looking at our other departments.
No, everybody,
Yeah.
everybody, not just any one group.
But that is an area that was in the budget that we reduced down, so.
I personally wasn't a fan of reducing that. Our Parks and Rec has been a shit show since I've had kids involved in it, and it's a joke.
We're
If we
very
need to
content-
throw an extra 10 grand at it to, and that's what it takes, and we can track the time and know what that person's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've proven that I'm pretty conservative over the years. Takes a lot for me to sit and spend more, but that's a place
Yeah,
that's.
and that's why we're here, is to have those conversations.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought too, of like being careful on cutting things that attract people to the town.
Yep,
So with libraries and park and rec and everything.
yep. Well, we're here, I mean, that, you have the opportunity, I will say, go and find 15 somewhere else. They're,
I get it. That, I don't have a solution either.
I mean, if there was, we'd go back after it.
Yeah.
I mean, I dared to do, I was, and you're doing your job. I mean, what you asked of me is you should. I went about as deep as I dare.
One thing you could do is push it back a year, you know, get the vehicle next year, if you don't have money or you don't want to spend the money.
Yeah, those are the I mean, and those are the conversations we had, but if you know, we need to, two things on the docket you're talking about right now is replacing the vehicle, which sounds like it'll fit that schedule. The second thing is, you know, what do we do with those hours? And if you want to include that both in, we can. If you're comfortable with that, we have the option to, well, I don't want to backtrack on that. If you want to do that, we can. It's going to take the 142 up to 152.
I guess for me, the exercise of the last week was cut near as close to the bone as we could and then start warming up instead of doing it backwards like we have in the past. And I think we got pretty close to the bone. Would everybody agree that?
I don't really want to cut more than this.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
saying cut. I'm saying we
Saying add
kind of
back.
found the bottom. and
Yeah,
now we're
exactly.
Saying, okay,
Now where's
we're
the happy
comfortable
medium?
with that, and that's conservative. Let's add a little bit more back in where it really needs it. That's my take.
And you have the funds are there. I mean, we're gonna cycle that cash carryover. We know where we're at. Everyone budgets for what they budgeted. They don't go spend their budgets down just because they have the money in there. So we can manage the finances of that. So the two solutions for that balance that I feel comfortable with is we do have the loss that we have a history of utilizing that we can go to for needs. And that is, we're 600 as of June 30 or July 1st, we were, I don't have that in front of me, but we were 607,000 or something is the projected, and that just keeps cycling. You know, so we get 400,000 to 500,000 a year, and I feel comfortable with that. And then you add that to cash carryover, we can conservatively balance this and still be moving forward, and not be in a deficit. And for a community that is experiencing the growth that we are, I mean, the community deserves, you know, the group has done a good job in the past to keep us where we are. We're doing a lot of big things. We're doing this at the same time we just built a new street to the school, we just ran utilities up 17, and we just built a new water tower. And we got departments that are growing, you know, we added an extra officer. Aaron's, you know, department's continually expanding. We got fire and EMS expanding, park and rec expanding, libraries getting accolades and doing great things, so.
As far as the hours, can we potentially, you know, if we say, okay, we're gonna go to 10 a week, could we potentially adjust as needed later?
What do you feel you need?
Take on all nights and weekends, so when sports programs are going on, really they'd be.
But can it be seasonal? So, I mean, can you divide up the hours that would be, and I don't want to just say you only need 10, but can you take your 10 hours and say, but that's going to be between April and September that we use the most of those, or can you divide up the number of hours in the year that equals 10 hours a week, or do you need 15, or do you need 20?
Oh, so like.
Yeah, you've got to
they
grow,
may need
so
more
520.
hours
Bank 'em when you don't
less
need 'em.
hours in the spring and fall.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah, you gotta bank
It sounds like the council's willing
260
to-
hours, divvy
willing
that
to-
up throughout the season as you want, you know? Use 200 of them during the first 4 months, and then. the other
Is
60
your-
For
months
instance,
to-
my winter sports are gonna end in March, and my spring sports will start up in April, so I'll have a month gap there,
Yeah.
so.
Aaron, is there, from your knowledge of, I mean, because we are, in the budget is to take mowing out from Public Works, put it into parks. Is there any time, can that position ever do anything else, or is that pretty much gonna just be mowing?
Oh, we've already cut it down to 20 hours.
The 20 hours a week on mowing,
Is that what it ended up at, was 20 hours? I thought it was 30.
It was supposed to be 30, but it's cut down to 20. Oh, all those 20 are gonna be spent mowing.
Yeah, 20 will be a help, but it won't get it done.
And that's
20,
only April to September.
but it's equal April, yeah, it's equal April to September.
Right.
So actually, it'll be more than 20 hours a week, but it's 20 hours a week that you combine within April to September. So it's not just 20 a week, it's 20 a week annually.
No,
And you,
we only calculated.
did you only calculate those months?
December, yeah,
Did you?
6
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, because we have that,
25, 26 weeks, we figured.
because we've got that separately under parks, that's
Right.
seasonal labor.
It was
It doesn't
30.
specify the hours on here, but it does say, did it specify on the last one?
Well, at least when I looked at that, it was.
You ran the actual
26
days
weeks at
for that month? Okay.
Whatever she figured out per
Yep.
hour.
So this
Okay.
was, this number under parks was calculated $18 an hour for 30 hours a week.
Yes, and that's been
And
cut.
so that would be the
down.
mowing, and
Now this is $18 an hour for 20 hours a week. April to
no,
September.
that's separate. So this would be for the rec assistant, that's what we're talking about limiting hours on?
Yeah, we already limited hours on the parks labor, and then separately, now we're limiting hours on the rec assistant, so both.
Okay. So what I'm looking at here is on the adjusted sheets that we've got now, under recreation, we dropped that number
Seasonal
from,
guy is 18.
18.
By 30 hours.
Yeah, we
By
didn't
6
cut-
months. We didn't cut the
We didn't
seasonal
cut-
person.
we didn't cut the
We didn't cut the
seasonal
We
season.
cut the
parks person.
The rec,
The rec
the
assistant.
assistant.
is all.
18 by 30 for 6 months.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what I
we-
think
No, we didn't
unless I
touch,
calculate, that's what we came up
we
with.
didn't touch the seasonal labor.
Yeah, we didn't
Touch
touch,
that guy.
At least
We
you
touched,
figure 18 on your stuff.
yeah.
No, there was shouldn't have been any change on the labor piece. It was the assistant that the council asked us to.
Yeah.
30 hours a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the seasonal help stayed the same.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I
It was
was,
just the rec
Yeah.
assistant.
30 hours back.
Those
Is
are
that
yellow
better?
things that
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Okay.
no, that's why your reaction
It's
was,
almost
wait a
30
minute, we didn't touch
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
seasonal.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that still covers mowing, upkeep and things like that. So
Yeah.
this rec assistant would be more for like setup,
programs.
All sports programs.
all that kind of stuff. Okay.
I think she was talking
Gym
about
time
nights
and,
weekends.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gen time, field prep, programming prep, I'll eventually teach them to do that.
I'll second what Jared said earlier. We've got a good one in that position right now.
Oh, I,
Yeah.
And it's been a lot less hassle on everybody since she started, which has been great.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why, how can we make this work as best as possible?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we don't keep somebody like her if it's 40 hours a week and she's coming in Saturday mornings to open gyms and locking them up at lunch. And
Yeah.
coming back at 4 for an evening practice and locking it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
Same reason we can't keep cleaning people.
Right.
For here, concession stands,
Right.
you know, it's not convenient times.
So that would push that total then. We'd add 9 back, not 10. Yeah, 151. So take it from 9 back up to 18, correct?
I brought it up.
18 is the number that it was.
I mean, I'd even take, if we averaged 15 hours a week for a year and start out.
Well, it sounds like they're on board.
Take it back
I'd take
and
it
track
back.
the time so we know what it is at
Yeah.
this time next year. And then we can reevaluate with real information instead of trying to fix a sinking ship on it.
Yeah.
And
And if you
You've
don't
been
spend the
around
whole
that
18 or
improving
whatever it
yourself.
is, you're not gonna spend the whole 18. You've tracked
So
it.
that'll
and
put that total up to
money will stay in general
151.
fund, you know.
Okay.
If
And
for
if
some
you're,
reason,
if you're
I wouldn't probably have it come.
good with that, then we'll
just come
proceed
in
with
and just,
getting all the
you know,
budgets in
then you can
place
track
and
and
moving forward.
maybe it won't be
Do you
15
want,
every week.
Mathing out this $14,040 that Chris is talking about here,
rolling into his grave.
Huh?
it might be.
Rolling into his grave.
Going the wrong direction.
Well, this is 26 weeks at 30 hours, not 20 hours. Are we talking about cutting it down to 20 hours or not?
No.
No.
Okay.
They wouldn't be
Okay.
able to get it done.
Got it.
Can't give them a job that they can't do.
Right.
yeah. Yeah, we didn't touch the mowing, yeah.
Yes.
Stuff in yellow.
Yep, so that's with the police
wasn't in
vehicle
yellow,
and
Do you want
increasing those rec
to,
assistant hours back up.
how do you want to proceed? Just, are you giving us permission to put the budgets together, or do you want to take a vote and?
Yeah, so what am I keeping in and am I keeping the 15 in for vehicle and?
And adding 9
And
back?
adding back in the
9.
rec, and I can see, put everything back in and
Yeah,
adjust.
two things
where we're at.
they talked about doing is 15 back in and 9 back.
15's in already, I
Right.
didn't take it out.
Right.
And then the 9 back.
Yes.
Like you can't take it out now.
Joe's like, you said yes, run.
Are you good with
9
both?
back in on,
Are you good
Yeah,
with both?
add back,
yeah,
add
so
back.
it's 18, back to 18.
Have you looked into any opportunities for grant to help pay for a police vehicle? I'm sure
Yeah.
there's something out there.
They're not. What have you heard?
JAG,
There's USDA, but that's for lower median income. A lot of the grants are median income, and Granger does not meet that.
We can, if there are, we can look at that, definitely. See if there's something out there. Are we in agreement that the 15's in, we're taking the mowing labor and taking it from the 9 back to 18, which that takes,
Rec
Not
assistant.
touching nurse labor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know,
Yes.
there's two different people, two
Yes.
different positions.
Assistant position back from 9 to 18. That takes that number from 142 to 151.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
How does that impact if conversation's moving forward with Harriet and a succession plan?
We addressed that
Okay.
at that time. We're talking July.
Okay.
And, if you get into the details of the succession plan, you've got one position and a wage at a certain rate, and you got another position. You could do some adjustment in there that maybe the budget works.
Okay.
The way it is. We just, like, the information that we'd like to see, or the request, the response I got from talking to the council and the mayor is, we don't have enough information to make a decision on taking that second position full-time. If there is a succession plan, let's bring that forward. The council is leaning towards or acknowledging that they would favor that. We just would like to see the succession plan.
So the number, though, in the library right now, that 118,
That's like,
820, does include Jerry as a full-time person. Just at the, based at 3% for everybody across the board. Her hours
But
are
not
32.
32,
Which is full-time.
yeah.
So that number wouldn't go up.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It could go down,
But
because
we're-
if we're not going to approve her full-time, it'd be a little bit different. You see what I mean? I
Yeah.
calculate that a little
Oh,
different.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what we're not doing tonight is approving the full-time.
Okay, then I
full
need to
seat,
move
the
that, that number
full-time
will go
position
down, actually. That 118,
From, as long as we
Well-
drop under 32 hours.
drop under 32
Right.
hours, so it could be 31 hours.
So there'll be, yeah.
Won't be a
then-
big amount of money, but I'm
But,
just saying that it will drop a little bit.
But we'll
Once we see
address
that
that. For now, we're not,
Yeah.
like
Proving
you
it,
said,
but
we may
address it maybe
do, we may
later.
do 31. So that you're not gonna see a big change in the budget.
No.
But what we're not doing is approving the full-time until you see the succession plan.
Okay,
Okay.
I gotta change that, just to
Yeah.
make a note.
Clear as mud?
All right, so I'm good. Dan said he's good. Chris?
Good. Tyson?
Yeah.
I saw you nod.
Okay, if there's nothing else?
We're not
Saw
gonna
some
get,
eyes
we're not
roll
gonna get any
too.
more than a nod out of you.
Nobody has anything else?
I have a lot I can add, no.
Okay, well.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.